Okay. Good morning. Good morning. For those that are always watching the channel, thank you so much for your support. For those that are new here, you are welcome. Every day we do a Mentorship Academy call at 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. On Mondays, we have Dr. Nelly. On Mondays, we have Revota. On Tuesdays, you have Dr. Sunshine Sylvia. On Wednesdays, you have myself. And on Thursdays, we have Dr. Nelly. And then on Fridays, we have what they call health talks. So today's call is very, very personal to me. I just lost a friend, childhood best friend, I would say. So today I'm going to make a tribute in memory of Natalie Molenga Ogome Omokodion. So the theme today is, today I choose to be intentional. I choose to live my life with purpose. So the topic, the power of a purpose-driven life. You are all welcome here today. And essentially, before I wasn't going to have the call, but consistency is very important. I'm mourning a dear friend, so I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who can be here today. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today's session is very personal, and I just like to say thank you. She lived with intentionality and she moved with purpose. She loved dearly, and today her life becomes our lesson. It's very important to live with intentionality, because only when you do that are you purposeful. Life is self-driven. It's self-driven, and only God knows our time. So why not live it with purpose? Why not be intentional about everything you do? Why not be intentional about the relationships that you have? So let's just reflect together. Today, you can repeat. Those that can repeat. Those who can't, that's okay. So let's just make a reflection together. Today, I choose to be intentional in my thoughts, in my actions, in my relationships, and in all I do. Every choice I make sets the tone for what comes next. No matter what has happened before, it's always good to reset and live with purpose. If things were already going well, they will get better. And I mean, if things were already going well, that is good, they'll get even better. And if things were not going well, God's time is perfect, and still live with intention, still go after what it is that you want to go after. When I think of Natalie, those words describe her exactly. She was purpose driven, and she was very intentional about everything that she did. What it means to live with intention. Being intentional is not about doing everything right. It's not about getting everything right. Natalie taught me that, and her presence was clear and undeniable. I went from being a friend to being a sister. Everybody in my family knows her, and everybody in her family knows me. And I just knew that I had to show up and show up intentionally. We always promised each other that we would wear white on each other's funerals, and has happened to be, and so I wore white in respect to giving respect to the conversations that we would have. We actually were closer growing up, and not necessarily as close when in our adult life, but still, we were the same side. We were different sides of the same coin. So we agreed on the things that we had together. She chose to live her life with meaning, and she had a profound effect on me. Because of hanging out with her, when I got into grade 8, I wasn't so great in class. But she said, okay, look, let's be studying together. And when my parents came for my grade 10 parent-teacher conference, the teachers were surprised to say, are these her grades? And then even my parents were surprised to say, well, are these her grades? That's how much impact that Natalie had on me. I ended up graduating amongst the top of our class because of her intentionality in making sure that she pulled me up to the academic standard of what she had. I owe everything to her, my life, my economics degree, because we also went to Monash together. She did microbiology, I did economics. And she was someone who I really, really, really loved. There's power in beginning again. Every day we are given a choice, repeat the past or begin again. Natalie reminded me that no matter how yesterday ended, today is a fresh start. It's not just about possibility, it's about making an intentional decision to make the direction of your life better. She leaves a legacy, and when we are intentional, we leave a mark, not only in achievement, but in the lives that we touch. Everybody that came in contact with her at her funeral, I was like, this is exactly who she was. Everybody just said how intentional she was, how she had a large network, how everybody that was in her space was just drawn to her, and this was amazing to witness. And the fact that she was also very involved with her church, this was great. So she simply was intentional and touched many, many lives. So I'd like you to just think of someone who has left an imprint on you, not because of who or what they have done, but because of who they were to you. Reach out to a friend, reach out to someone who you haven't spoken to in a long time. It's very important to remain in contact. What impact have they had on your life, so that you can just continue what it is that you are doing. So every day gives us a choice to live by default or to live with purpose. Today, I choose to live with purpose and continue to live in purpose. What does intentionality mean? Intentionality means you will not get everything right. You will not have everything correct or everything outlined. But it's very important to make sure that, one, you know where you're going. There's a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. A Purpose-Driven Life, the book is so amazing. You can find it in bookshops. You can find it I think it should be in Bookworld. It just shows you how to be intentional with everything you do. It gives you the guidelines, it gives you the steps that you need to be able to have a purpose-driven life. People around you can't know what it is that you're doing unless you deliberately say, this is what I'm doing. And, being part of another thing that she had told me is, no, join Rotary. And I said, okay, no, I'll kind of see how it works. So I was going for meetings at Lusaka East, and my dad happens to be a Rotarian, and my friend Priya, and she is also a Rotarian. So these are people that, and then also Natalie was a very devout and loyal Rotarian. And they all said, okay, look, you need to make a decision. And this is why I'm saying intentionality and being purpose-driven is very, very important. It's very important to make sure that you're living with intentionality, you're making decisions. I'm someone who used to coast through life and not necessarily take decisions. And I would try and gauge, and my decision-making process is quite long until I make a decision. And I love that Natalie made decisions quickly and they stayed. She was someone who knew exactly who she was. And because of that, everybody around her was drawn to her. There's a power that comes out of being purpose-driven, because people know your journey and it's easy for them to join your journey and to know what it is that you're doing. So I'll just ask that when the call is done, you just write down one intentional action that you would take, whether it's reconnecting with a friend, whether it's running your business. You need to keep moving forward. You need to make sure that what you're doing is intentional. What is it that you want to be remembered by? Who are you at the end of the day? What makes you who you are? You know, what is the secret sauce of who you are? What makes you intentional? What makes you wake up in the morning? I happen to have a love for SMEs, and that's what wakes me up every morning. You know, I don't want people to go through life wanting to run a business and not know how to run a business. So this is what I do. And I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that has supported the cause, and just thank you to everybody that keeps going. You know, life is not easy, but you need to make intentional decisions to make it keep going. You need to make sure that what you're doing has an impact. What impact are you leaving? You know, so many people do things, right? But what is it that you're doing that is leaving an impact? How are you contributing to your community? How are you assisting your family? You know, it's very important to make sure that you are intentional. You have a purpose-driven life. You have everything that you need to keep going. You have the power of your why. Why are you who you are? Who have you helped? You know, who have you been in contact with? Who have you whispered in a boardroom, and you say someone's name and you say, okay, no, this person is doing this and this, give them a chance. So this is, you know, we need to learn to live in community. We need to learn to live as people who work together. You know, collaboration surpasses competition any day, any day. So this is who she was. Like I mentioned, we're at the same schools, we're at the same university, and she was someone who I held dear to me. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody. And I know that it's something that is not easy. A death is not easy to go through, especially a death of a friend, a death of a daughter, the death of a sister. Is not a death of a mother. You know, Imani she had a daughter called Imani, and she looks like her mom so much. So now I'm just going to make a tribute. Some friends are chosen, some are woven by God Himself. Natalie and I were two sides of the same coin. We had a lot of things in common. That we agreed on the big things, and we didn't have to see each other every day to have a bond. What mattered was the big things, you know, the purpose, the love. Our journeys were intertwined in the most meaningful ways. We went to Banani together, and later God carried us both to Monash. We even became mothers around the same time. Like I mentioned, she has a daughter, and I have 3 kids, and we always joke to say she needs to catch up. Yeah, we always joked about that. And then, you know, she was a phenomenal mom. She was always present, always intentional, always tender, and she loved her deeply. Sorry, I'm not myself today. She lived with intention. She saw the best in people, and I just need to remind you all. She reminded us of who we were, and we constantly, even when I forgot who I was, she constantly reminded me that I'm someone who needs to do what it is that I need to do to be a better person. And then her laughter was so full, her compassion was so wide, her heart was so big. She walked with grace, even in silent battles. She poured into others, even when she needed pouring into. She was a woman who understood meaning. She was a woman who chose love. I thank God for the privilege I thank God for the privilege of growing up beside her, becoming her friend, and her opening up her whole family to me. Her absence is loud and her impact is even louder. The world is softer and better because she lived. Rest well, Natalie. Your story continues in the lives you touched. Your light remains, your love remains, and I'll carry your memory as a reminder to live with purpose. Thank you. I know the call is supposed to be for 30 minutes, but yeah, I think this is where I'll end. Sorry. And I just love all of you. And I wanted to just share the Wednesday call and say that you need to live with intentionality and you need to be constantly there and constantly keep moving forward. And I love you all. Thank you.
Hugs to you, Sampa. Hugs. It's okay. It's okay. We end the call now. Thank you for being strong to take the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.